So just life experiences. Just yeah, people doing things.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
actually very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure you could probably think of a lot of people you can join on this series. But yeah,
Yeah. I already have a lot on my
yeah.
mind.
So most definitely, you definitely got to get people on. And I think we should just like, kind of jump in now. We can just
Okay.
jump in
Okay.
on this right now. And I'll just start with like
Okay.
the reading of this. So like, thanks for taking the time to participate in this. And I don't know how much what we talked about before I'm going to put in, but my intention with I Know Great People is to share more information about people do versus what they think they do. And I want to bridge the gap
Yeah.
between perception and knowledge. And I believe the more we know about ourselves, the greater the things we can accomplish are. And I also just kind of want to let the rest of the world know how many cool people I know. So with this one, we're going to start in. We got a guest today. I'm going to let her introduce herself soon with the first question of this I Know Great People series. Questionnaire, conversation thing is what is your name, the occupation and pastime that is a subject we're going to talk about today, and how did we meet?
Okay, so my name is Rachel Opinya. My occupation, I'm the founder of Artiv Hub. And how we met is actually through Motika and the 1 Milli Artist Program.
Yeah.
That is how I got to meet Silas. Yeah.
And Watika will be in this series soon. I will schedule his interview soon on that one, and I'll also get some of the people from 1 Million Thriving Artists on. And yeah, so we just met her. I met her about like a month and a half ago or something, and
Yeah.
we're going to do some more things together. So she'll be on this series. We already talked. She'll get other people on this series and build up. If you have questions for her as well, we'll get to them more later on. But yeah, she's running a school, and that's just something that's a way to teach art where it's something that I thought of even when we first met. And I was just like, there's certain things that shouldn't be, are not best done in your typical academic schooling system. Whether in Kenya, they have the K, is it the 844? Is that, what is the system
Eight
here
for
in
four.
Kenya?
Now
Yeah.
changed to the CBE.
Okay, so what's the change?
They now say it's continuous based
Yeah.
education or something.
Okay.
It used to be
Okay.
CBC, competency based something, but now they changed it to CBE. So actually, the last people who are doing the 844 is next year. Those are the last Form 4s.
Yeah.
And then now 844 gets crossed out.
Okay. So that's
Yeah.
kind of a bit similar to in the United States of America, it's like K through 12, where you start at kindergarten, then you have elementary school, which is 1 to 5, and then middle school was
Yes.
6 to 8,
Yes.
and then high school was 9 to 12. Yeah.
High school.
So that's kind of the same
Exactly.
kind of system, but it's except
Yeah.
it's like 844. So it's like 8 in standard. Is it primary school? No,
So 844 was 8 years primary,
yeah.
4 years secondary, four
Yeah.
years university.
Okay. Yeah, so that one
Yeah.
counts. And now in America, it's increasingly 4 to 5 years for university, at least after you've done the K through 12. You think they'd be able to
Wow.
educate you to a certain level to be capable after 12, but no, you still got to go to that in post grad. So anyway, that system, I had an experience coming and trying to do some guest lecturing at Kenyatta University, and that's also part of why I'm talking to Artiv. I'm going to take some of the things that I learned there and develop there, and hopefully teach it through Artiv because that experience, some things like arts, I think might not be best suited in a typical 4 year thing where some people are more focused on just getting credits versus being
Mhm.
interested in the topic matter that they are. And with creative arts, I think creative fields in general that lean more towards that, there's a lot of participation. And if you're not really bought into it, it's very hard. It can really hold back other people. It's not like a step by step kind of process.
Mhm.
I don't know. You probably even speak more to this.
I
And
get you.
I
Yeah,
yeah.
that's actually good. Yes.
Yeah. And I think we could lead to the next question there because I think this is part of the difference is like what are this 2 or 3 things that someone would like about what you do? Like as both as a creative teaching the arts, yeah, I think if we could focus more on that, like to think about how is it better to teach the arts in the environment that you have versus what you've seen being taught in other places. And I think we talked a bit about that, my experience within a system for
Yeah.
my own limitations and the limitations of the system and not being able to check things out versus having your company where you can select and organize and work with people in, I think, a more conducive way.
Mm. Okay, so for that, I would say one, the red tape. The red tape is not there.
Mm.
You see how you have to go through like sorry, if you want to add on something, the arts is very wide. That's something I learned. Arts is very wide. And if you want to have like a different approach on how to teach it, then you'd find that you have to go to the administration, then the administration has to go to the board, and then all those steps, we kind
Yeah.
of just like slaps that out. And now we talk to the trainer one on one and like, okay, what do you want to come up with? And then now we sit down together and be like, how is this going to be beneficial to the student? Is the student going to gain something by the end of it all? So that's one of the things. Another thing is, oh my gosh, it slipped my mind at the top of my head. The
Come
other
back.
thing is, oh, wait, just 1 second, just the red tape and also the structured learning in the sense that we tailor it to the person, to the student. You
Okay.
see, for the institution, it's a one size fits all. But you get
Yeah.
that those ones who are visual learners, those ones who learn through hearing, those ones who actually learn through the reading. So we when we get the students or whoever wants to come learn, we kind of tailor it to their strength on how they will be able to understand that concept. And that's not something you find in university.
Hmm.
University is you all go through the coursework, you all do the exam, you all do the CATs. So if you're struggling, if someone is struggling or not, that's your thing. You need
Yeah.
to learn how to get into the system and, go up with that flow. But that's not their strong point. So we kind of try and bring out that strong point of the learner's needs. Yeah.
Okay. And can you tell us a bit about what you think people might like? Because this is something that I know as a creative, taking so long to actually getting out and trusting in myself, believing myself enough to start a project. Even something we talked about is with me moving abroad, different places coming in and out, being dissuaded and thinking this environment doesn't have the ability to make a living in what I'm doing. But you had the different mentality 10 years ago to say, no, I'm a creative. I'm going to create that opportunity. So what can you tell creators who might be questioning if they can create that thing that they think is lacking out there in the industry to be a professional, to actually make a living being creative? Well, what during that process do you think is something that would be good to tell other creators?
Uh, patience, patience, and just to keep on trying.
Mhm.
We've knocked on so many doors. We looked for so many partnerships when we were starting off. We were when we were a young company. We tried to partner now with other organizations, other creative fields, other people in the creative world. There was the gatekeeping, but we didn't stop. We just kept whichever little door would open, we'd go into it. So always knock on the doors. Whichever will open, go into it and do such a good job. Give your best. Don't just give substandard because
Yeah.
that now also defines you in the market. It makes you different from all the others. Oh, I can find someone cheaper. Or I can find someone who, get your footing right and be able to know that this is our strong point. This is your strong point as a creative. Go for it. And then once you've strengthened that strong point, now you can start looking at other options on how to perhaps diversify yourself. So that's one of the things that worked for us.
Hmm.
And also, when you do now get past that gatekeeping, open the door for the person who's behind you. That's how we've also gotten ahead. The people who we've mentored in the past 10 years are the people who sometimes we get opportunities from. Motika is an example.
Yeah.
Motika came to Artiv, I think, 5 years ago, but he came as a producer and a musician. And then we reconnected last year and now this time as an artist. So if we hadn't perhaps crossed path or opened the door to him at that time, we wouldn't be where we're going to with the art at this
Hmm.
time. So there's so many people who we've mentored along the path who have now grown and even used the company as a stepping stone to the next path. And that's something I would encourage also creatives to do. That way it kind of gives birth, like how you're trying to build the organic network, same way.
Yeah.
Gives birth now to something organic and organic networking and organic opportunities without you having to feel bad that, oh, this person is getting ahead and I'm just still here. Yeah, because you're all getting ahead in the long run.
Yeah, that's one thing I find. I don't know if it's unique to the creative field, but it's definitely a feature of the creative field, especially when you're growing a field like this. is that whole like rising tide raise all boats kind of situation because the more the more creators you teach out there, that means there's more people doing whatever it is that you're doing out there. That means there's
Yeah.
going to be more people seeing, oh, this is cool. Like you might have some really amazing designs, but you have a limited time to create those designs and to publish those things. You
Yeah.
have to have a limited, but then you put that out and maybe 100 people will see what you do. And then maybe 10 of them will consider it's worth paying for. And maybe two or three of them will have the actual money to pay for it. And if that coincides with having your contacts, having like the right job at the right time, you're free. That's one thing. But then if you let somebody else increase that, then they're seeing 100 more people, 100 more people, 100 more people. So that it leads to like 10,000 people seeing it if you help like 100 people. I think my math might be off on that. But then
Yeah.
from that now, even if it's only 10%, now that's like 1,000 people who've seen it. And then now the chances of you actually being it increases the people who are aware of the value of whatever creative field that you're doing, that value added thing, and it
Yeah.
increases your potential clients, your potential valuation for it.
Yeah.
You'll be able to put your price higher because now they'll understand, oh, I can't work with this, can't work with this guy, but I can come
Mhm.
to you. You know, so it's just something
Yeah.
where it takes some time to kind of turn around. And I think there are certain fields here, from my experience, like certain industries aren't as official as they are in other places. Like you go to like the States from living there, if you need a plumber, you call a company that sends like plumbers that are certified, they know the
Yeah.
stuff, like they're there waiting for you. And there's many different companies you'll come. Everything's official that way. Here, you'll know a guy, or you'll know your
Yeah.
cousin will know a guy, someone will know a guy. And then that person knows that if I don't take this job right now, I might not
Mhm.
get a job for another few months because the few people I know might not have an issue. So they'll come to your house.
Mhm.
You'll tell them, okay, can you do this? Can you do that? Oh, I can also do electrics. I can also do this. So they'll be thinking, I have to get as much work right now because if I put somebody else on,
Mhm.
I'm going to lose this contact. And it
Yeah.
ends up they do they don't do work as well as possible because they think like, I'm just going to say I can do this or I'm going to squeeze my ability to do this because I might lose this contact because that system isn't there. And I feel for them, I understand them, but then having that mentality also in the creative field where you're like, I'm just going to try to take on work that I can't accomplish, or I'm going to try
Mhm.
to keep my contacts together. Like, no, I don't think we should do that in the creative field.
Yeah.
Rambling a bit in that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so next question. So list 2 to 3 things somebody may dislike about what you do. And in this one, I would like you, without getting in trouble with Sirikali too much, I'd like you to talk a bit about your experience trying to set up the structure of the business that you have now versus just going in and being like, this is a school, like an official school. If you could touch a bit on that that process.
Okay. Okay, let me see if I've gotten the question right.
Yeah,
So,
2 to 3 things
like,
you made this people may dislike about setting up a company like Artiv, going out professionally in the teaching
uh,
creative arts field.
okay, getting the structure together.
Yeah.
Admin work, putting in a system, that's boring. If you're teaching, you're like, oh my gosh, each time I have to do the admin work, I have to psych myself like this, someone else will do this one day. I need to put in the right now.
Yeah.
So that's one. Two is being compliant. I will not lie, that is a pain
Yeah.
because you have to make sure that you're right with KRA, you have to make sure you're right with the Nairobi County, you have to make sure you're not going into too much into the lane of the school because then now you need like the license from the TVET and all that thing. So that's also something that people might find challenging because you see, you want to have your own curriculum, but then there's all the red tape of if you want to do this, then it means you need an official school, official classes. I think you once shared that,
Yeah.
how you have to have the whole TVET thing. So that's also one of the pains. And yeah, I think those are the two major ones for me.
And it's very frustrating because I can understand some fields. It's like, okay, you need a certain certification or regulations to ensure that somebody has been trained to be a heart surgeon. Because at the end of the day, they leave and then they go get hired by somebody else, and it can be a life or death sort of
Yeah,
thing at the end of the day. When it comes to if you're teaching somebody to draw a human being, they
exactly.
come in there with an inability to draw it, and at the end of the day, can they draw the human being or not? It's like, why
But
do you need so many like hoops and regulations to do it? It's like, can they play the piano or not at the end of the day? Like how you got there, like why does it have to be so regulated? It's
it has
crazy.
problems of you. For you to go that direction, you have to have their curriculum. So if they want to do a curriculum, and I have gone through the curriculums of the CBC, the TVET,
Yeah,
and I've seen what they do in music and in art. And to be very honest, it's shallow. I hope I won't get in trouble for
yeah,
saying that, but it is shallow. And I feel like more in depth can be gotten and so much more potential. That way, we are even competing on the level of the international standards, not just local, because I know we can produce such great artists, such great musicians, such great creatives, if even in fashion, whatnot. But
mhm,
the level of knowledge that they're getting is not deep enough.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, the basics are good, but that's part of the limitations of certain systems is
exactly. Yeah.
you have to create a curriculum for the lowest common denominator, which is just like, yeah, it's an unfortunate system. And yet they're also not graduated grading necessarily that at the end of the day that somebody took this illustration course. At the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
not clear like we want this person to understand color theory or understand perspective. It's
Mm,
like have they done through whatever steps to get the credits? You're focused more on
yeah.
credit achieving than creativity achieving.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Than
Yeah.
creativity achievement. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're focusing on more graduates rather than graduates who actually live with a skill that even if they don't get a job, their
Mhm.
skill can still feed them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but
yeah.
speaking about that, like how many of the people do you work with right now who are creatives looking to actually make money of it? How many are just people who have like one of my early experiences just coming back after being out and abroad was going to a doctor's office and this guy was a top doctor. I forget what he was doing. He was doing some level thing. He was seeing my mom was in there with him, but he had a pretty big office and had these magnificent paintings. So he just did it on his free time. So how much of your students right now, the people who come to Artiv, are creatives looking to learn and actually work as creatives, or people who are just trying to pick up an instrument for hobbies or other sorts of activities, sort of thing?
Um, for now, most people actually are coming in now because it was a lost thing that they didn't have in the past.
Okay.
So coming to reignite that I used to draw, or it's just treating it as a therapy. But we do have the creative. So one of the things that we're trying to do right now is also to like the trainers who are coming on board to train them
Hmm.
on getting better at their skill. So that even if, like how you came here teaching, when you're leaving here, perhaps for a better opportunity or whatnot, it's you're able to earn more because now you're even more valuable. We do have the ones who come, but not to learn it as a skill, like paying and being like, okay, I want to improve my skill so that I can earn this. You
Okay.
get people don't value it like that. And if people could value it like that, because we also do mentorship where we're like, okay, if you're an artist, like you met Ken.
Yeah.
Ken was an intern and then
He'll
now
be on the
joined
series still.
us. And now exactly. So you get some people who are like that, but they're not patient enough to go through the whole training. So because you can't just give someone a student and be like, okay, you're going to teach them. You have to train them to reach that level that you want them to reach to understand the how the company works, the vision of the company, the systems, and then now from there, now being able to assign them, being able to assign them like perhaps you're going to teach, perhaps you're going to handle something else, perhaps you're going to handle the creative experiences. But most people are not that patient. So
Hmm.
that's also a problem we kind of face, especially like if you want to give someone something for free, they're like, okay, why don't you come on board? We can't mentor you. You don't have to pay anything. All you need to do is just show up, you get your skill, and then now from there we can be able to either assign you classes or you can use that skill to go look for clients. But
Yeah.
you find guys just want to come on and be like, where's the money?
Yeah.
Why are you not teaching me how to make the money? You're like, we can't get to that yet before you learn the skill. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Oh, yeah, but that's a good. Yeah, okay, so that explanation coming. Okay, so are there any occupations or pastimes that you think may be the opposite of what you do? So this could be towards like, I mean, we've touched a bit about it already of how teaching in certain environments could be the opposite of actually trying to achieve the creativity. But this is just now, even for part of this project, because I was thinking now if you have the stuff that you think is the opposite of what you're doing with Artiv and teaching in that kind of way, starting up a business, if you think of something that's on the opposite side, then maybe later on as we build this I Know Great People series, somebody who is doing the opposite thing that you did could be clicked on, and then we see what they say about their experience through that. So from you, what do you think would be an opposite job that would be kind of like a mirror universe version of you would be doing, or something like that?
Maybe what I read, maybe
Yeah,
what I studied in university. I studied
which is what?
finance.
Okay.
So in the opposite, I would be in an office right now
Yeah. Okay.
looking at the
So
numbers.
what made you leave that actually? That's kind of it. I mean, but now you're doing some administrative stuff, so I'm sure some of the finance stuff is kind of assisting in that a bit, right?
It actually does assist.
Yeah.
What made me leave it? I went for my internship in third year. I was at Strathmore. I went for my internship in third year. And third year is when I actually started my first business for the music. This is the second company. My first
Okay.
company was just plain music, pure music with another business partner. And 80% of the time I was in that internship, I was actually just doing promotional work for the company, creating the posters, looking for Facebook, posting on Facebook groups. So I would do like my work in the morning, and like reconciliation and whatnot. Like that would take like between like morning hours of 8 to like 10, 11. From
Mhm.
11 to 3 p.m. before I go for basketball, I'll just be doing the whole company aspect. So that's when I realized afterwards I can't sit in an office from 8 to 5.
Yeah.
Can't. It's my mind was bored. My mind was just bored. I can't. I'm the type of person who likes to actually, in as much as I'm an introvert, I do
Mhm.
like to meet new people and to learn stories about different people. And that's
Yeah.
how I've actually grown and met so many diverse people. So yeah, that's one of the things that maybe not want to stay there. I
Yeah, I
I'm
say that
very
about
bored.
myself too. Like I feel like I'm the most social, antisocial person that I know. And now adding you to that, there seems to be something about that there where there's like you can just fall into your creative holes, minds, and go to like a hermitage. But then there's also that there's just such a benefit, and it's something I want to talk to Matika. I already told Matika. Matika will be on. We're going to talk about the caricature, and he has like a union or a collection. I think it's a union. Is it called a union of character artists in Kenya? He started that. Yeah, but
Yes, I mean,
yeah. So we'll talk to him about that because with him, he has a very, especially in these times of AI coming in, people, there's certain people, graphic designers, like for some time on YouTube, there was a big industry of people who just make money doing covers for other people, YouTube videos. And
mm,
now 75% of those jobs or more are just now AI. You just see the AI covers and whatnot. But with so what Motika does with the caricature, it's like you meet somebody, you see somebody immediately, you do the drawing, it's like 10, 15 minutes, and you get the immediate reaction from the person.
mm,
It's a very direct response to your creativity. Whereas in some things, with my background of graphic design, animation, working with different clients, trying to work in different ways, you're convincing someone, you're chasing them for the payments, you've put in your heart and soul or like expression and other things into this, and then they're like, ah, this is not good. Like we're going to. So that process
yeah,
is different. But then when you do the caricature, it's immediate. It's like you see the results right
that's
there.
very true.
Yeah. Yeah, so that must be really, I can imagine even for that, even with whatever struggles I had at Kenyatta, just the few people that I met, that
Mm,
I taught, I managed to somehow teach, impart some creativity to some students there. And I've seen some of them go out. I'm not saying it was all me that did this, not definitely not at all. It was mostly them and other
yeah.
teachers that they had. But just seeing them actually going out there and working on things and talking to them, that must be such a rewarding experience for you to actually see people
Mhm.
learn the things that you might take for granted in that kind of way. Oh yeah. So next
Yeah.
question: what are some misconceptions about what you do? And I think this is important, even as a creative. You can kind of keep that in mind for creatives out there who are thinking of teaching, or yeah, just that process. Because seeing some of the things that we talked about, some misconceptions I had about how easy it would be to teach my process to other people. What are the misconceptions that a creative looking forward to teaching other people might have about what you do? Yeah.
Um, that's a good question. I've actually never asked myself that question. I think not knowing that they always have to always be improve themselves. You can come teach someone, but you're not like, let's say you start with beginner classes.
Mhm.
So you stick with beginner classes and you never improve your skills. So you're just stuck on the same place. Uh, you should always be learning and improving yourself and improving perhaps how to do your teaching. So always be improving on your craft. Another misconception is uh, people always go, people will ghost you, and that you should charge cheaply. Let me not say charge cheaply, but charge your value, and don't be scared to charge your value. That's also a lesson I learned throughout the years. As the years go by, I've been trying to see how do we charge for this service we're giving. And if we're giving you value, then you will receive value. So if you're charging for that value, then you need to actually be on the standard of that value.
Mhm.
Yeah, another misconception is another. You, you have to have patience. There are very many different characters. You won't meet the same people. And you need to know how to adjust to those different characters.
Yeah.
So don't react emotionally, don't take things personally, react rationally. So even if a client is rude to you or whichever, don't send a strong worded message of, you know what?
So you can draw like maybe you can tease them with a drawing. Draw strongly worded comic book,
You
a
know,
strongly scripted comic strip instead of
a strongly scripted comic book. And yeah. Some of those things, you kind of just have to grow that thick skin and be like,
yeah.
that's what you think. Oh, okay. Well noted. Well noted, and that's it. So you really have to have a thick skin in this whole thing. They'll test you, they'll push you, but how you react and how you handle those situations really tell a lot about your character.
Mhm. Hmm. Now this is a tough thing in my middle-aged self. It's taken me all this time to actually get to this point of
Yeah.
how do you divorce, like, because it's something creative where you're like, if I was playing this song or if I was drawing this or if I was sculpting this, I would do it in this particular way because I know what I'm trying to achieve and I've learned this process. Or I would not be happy enough with the way this thing looks. So this is something that I've struggled with trying to understand with if I'm doing something for a client, I'm not envisioning what the client, I'm pretty much a prompt or a tool. I'm the brush that the client is using, like a brush that kind of works by itself, like an artistically inclined brush instead of the AI that the person is using. So if the person wants a certain color scheme, I can tell them from color theory, from my experience, these colors don't work. But if the client wants those colors for whatever reason, I should be able to divorce myself from that. If you're teaching a student and they're like, look, I'm trying to get to this thing, and can I do it this way? Versus you like, no, you need to do it this way, and it needs to look this way before it's okay. And if you do that, you'll get there. But that other person is like, no, I'm okay with that looking that way. And how do you get to that point of divorcing your standards, of your input, of your creative vision from trying to teach somebody a creative vision or work with other people who are requesting you to achieve a creativity? Because now you also do facilitating events and things like that. So like, what process? How do you divorce your standards, your creative standards, from what you're trying to teach people to develop or provide for other people? That I don't know if that
Okay.
makes sense.
That's actually a good one. It's a good one because I used to struggle with that a lot. And also, my husband is a videographer, but he used to do graphic design. And I used to see him also struggle with the same thing that you're saying.
The client is
Yo,
not
because it's
always
like,
right.
this is not working. And the client is like, no, I want this. And you're like, even you're like, this is not working. So it's just like, okay, fine, there you go, there you go. That's what you want? Fine. But one of the ways I've actually you have to be cunning. You actually have to be cunning and kind of slip your vision for them without them realizing that you've slipped in the vision that you
Okay.
want them to go to. It's all I kind of call it like consumer psychology.
Yeah.
Uh, you play with them in a way that we because I've been teaching for a long time, and you get students who come in and they're like, okay, fine, I want 10 classes and I want to achieve this by those 10 classes. And you're like, that won't be possible. But let me do this. Let me show you what you can achieve in those 10 classes. And by the time they reach in that 10th class, they realize, oh, wait, I need more.
Okay.
Because when I'm teaching them, I kind of teach them in the sense that this is where you should be, this is where you want to go. But to get here, do you know this? And it's totally tied to where they want to go. So when they realize that, they're like, yo, I actually don't know much. So
Okay.
they're willing to go through that process of, okay, guide me. So I have had so many of those situations. So instead of divorcing, what I do is just kind of integrate. No matter how tiny it is, just integrate a small piece. That way, they'll see a difference in kind of giving them options like, okay, this is your option. But there's also this option, by the way. So you see, you're kind of giving them the power to choose, and automatically the mind won't choose the one that they did. You'd find that most of the time they choose the one that you're doing. That's something
Yeah.
I've learned. Yeah.
Okay. So more like the client isn't always right, but the client is always paying. So you gotta keep that in mind. In mind. So
Keep that in mind.
okay, we'll take a short break here and be right back. Before we get to the most important question of this questionnaire, I'm going to tell you a bit about I Know Great People. I am bringing the series back. I want you to also go check out iknowgreatpeople.carbon33.com to find more about this project, find other people that have been hosted on this. If that link changes, it'll probably be updated wherever you're listening to this. You can find a link there. It's going to be a thing where you can participate in as well. You can take that questionnaire. You don't have to record a video version of it. The actual questions are there, and I want more people to join in on this as we build this series up. And I want to thank Rachel, and there's going to be Mwatika coming up, and also Ken from Artiv, because we're doing something with them as well with 1 Million Thriving Artists Creative Collaborative Community, where you can also go check artivhub.org to get more information about Artiv. And they are going to be the first of these regular studio meetup visits that we're going to be having here. If you're in Kenya, check it out. Go to Artiv, check it out. You can also follow Amelie Thrive on different socials to follow more about that. Or there's also going to be links somewhere on this one. I'll try to update that. And for that one, we're going to have 10 a.m. You're going to get there, 10 to 10:20 registration, networking, music, and welcome. 10:20 to 10:35 icebreaker and introductions. From 10:35, we're going to have about Artiv Hub. From 11, we're going to have opportunities through Artiv Hub. From 10:30, a tea break, some chai, and namkate maybe there. From 11:45, a creative paint session. From 12:45, there's going to be open discussion. From 1:20, next steps, and then 1:45, a group photo and closing. Then you can just hang out, walk around the area, and meet people and whatnot. But this is going to be the first of studio visits. If you missed this first one on July 31st of 2026, they have agreed to do more of these meetups, and we'll be having other meetups through Amelie Thrive, and we'll be keeping you updated on that. But yeah, for this one, just check out this series. I really hope you're enjoying it so far. And I'm also looking to fund these in different ways, grow these things in different ways. But I want to streamline this process so other people can jump on as well. And the barrier to entry for this isn't that high. And with that, I don't have the Zoom, so I have this thing in the break. But I think I might just adopt this whole break in the middle type of thing after 45 minutes or so of conversation, and then talk a bit about something and then pitch to something else. Because it might be also things related to the actual topic matter that we're talking to that could be pertinent to put in here. But yeah, just jumping right back into it now. So next question is, are there any courses, classes, or other forms of learning that specifically helped you do what you do? And are there any other things that you missed that you missed doing that you suggest someone should do? So we've talked a bit about the finance, but yeah, in the process of you starting Artiv, what are the things that you learned, whether it's typical traditional academics or other things that helped you do that? And then what are some things that you missed? I just repeated the same question again. Go ahead.
Okay. One of the things I should have learned is because of doing the finance, I was so focused on doing things by the books.
Hmm.
So I'm going to give an example of the first company and also of Archie, but now I started it now the second time. The people who have started both companies with are street smart. So they know their way around how to talk to people, how to look for opportunities, all those things. And I'm there like, okay, we have to do this by the books. There's not enough money for this. There's not enough to do this, all those things. But what I wish I would have learned is to be less rigid. Entrepreneurship requires you to do a lot of leap of faith. And one thing I never used to understand that my first business partner used to say is you need to spend money to make money. And I used to be like, why? Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
Why are we not just leaving the money where it is? So that's one of the things that I've learned. You have to spend money to make money, and you do it in sort of a smart way, and also the networking, talking to people, getting out of your comfort zone. That's one of the things I really wish I had started to tap into before. I was so scared of being the face of Artiv. I hid behind the scene. I would just make things work, but no one knew. No one knew the face, one of the faces behind Artiv. They knew the main founder, Imor, but Rachel was just behind the scenes. I didn't want to be seen until the point where it hit a point where I was like, okay, something has to give. Your company needs to start paying you. You need to actually start to have a structure. You need to actually have a vision and start moving forward. So, what you're going to do? And that's why I was like, I need to take the step out. You need to be bold. I talked to a lot of people. People advised me, and I took the advice that matters, and the criticism that didn't, we chuck it out.
Yeah.
So, the other thing is also the imposter syndrome, being like, should I be in this room? You see, I'm not that qualified. I did finance. It's not that I did like major in music or something, but you find that the some of the students have taught until to a really high level, um, and they've gone on to become something. They've made something out of what the skill that they've gained, and that imposter syndrome of asking myself, am I meant to be in this room with all these other CEOs, with all these other great people?
Hmm.
So I'm learning how to squash that. And I wish I would have squashed it a long time ago because I think it would have made me more bold to actually step into opportunities and being like, yeah, uh, Artiv does deserve this opportunity. And yes, I am behind the face of Artiv. So that's one of the things that I did learn. And I wish I had kind of implemented it when I was younger. But the fact that the young people who are coming in who are coming into contact with Artivs, the creatives who are coming into contact with Artiv, we're able to share experiences and tell them, look, this is what we did, this is what happened. But if you can learn from that, you actually have a chance to change your path. And that's one of the things that I'm happy because now it's become a lesson that I don't regret having to go through that, but now using it now to teach the younger generations that are now coming up.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, that's good. And to that end, also, I've been doing a few things here recently, and I've been very inspired just from 2 years ago, just getting involved in starting we did a convention here, then we started 1 Million Thriving Artists. Like she mentioned, that's how we kind of met through that. And I was continuing the socials, and I've been working with other creators and just getting involved with the creative industry and creatives and networking here in Nairobi, Kenya. And to that extent, we are putting on starting a new thing like a studio visit, and we'll be having a studio visit at Artiv at the end of this month. I'm recording this on the 10th. I'll probably post it in the next couple of days. But at the end of June, July, we're going to have that
Right.
start that so we can start seeing other people out there actually doing the work. Because I've had so much inspiration from that and just thinking like, because there's a two-sided sword of it where it's like I'm drawing stuff, and then some of the people who see me drawing who can't draw be like, oh wow, that's really amazing. But then what I have in my mind is nowhere close to what I'm drawing. And then the artist that I'm actually seeing doing this stuff, I'm like, wow, that's the amazing stuff. And that can
Exactly.
get you down. But like you still you need to have enough trust in yourself. Like, no, what you're doing is like the person who told you, like, wow, that's wow. They actually are seeing the wow there. You might not be seeing the wow there, but the wow is there. And then one of the things we'll be talking to creators here is taking the opportunity to come to Artiv to learn stuff, but also be part of Artiv to teach other people stuff. You will be surprised how much of what you would learn from actually trying to see how you would teach somebody else what you already take for granted. And I think that process for me, dabbling in the teaching fields and doing that, and even just having nephews and nieces and nephews and seeing them learn the drawing and seeing them develop over the years, it really makes you value again what you were doing, what some of us have been doing since we were kids. We take some of that stuff for granted, how far we've come in that process, but it's something that it's a magical thing to do, even if it's not like your main occupation. Some people have to get other jobs here and there to maintain basic things. You need to add more creativity in your life. And if you can impart that creativity onto more people, that's just such a great feeling that I think is very underrated. That I think you could speak to just having experienced that with your process.
Yes.
Let's now jump to the most important question of the questionnaire. That I mean, I think it's the most important one, and I think if we did some sort of study or something, this might be the most important one as well. Okay, so do you like cheese? And if yes, which ones and why? And if no, why are you such a horrible person? And I will give I will give some allowances to people who are like lactose intolerant or something, or it's against their religion to eat like cattle, or but there's all sorts of other kind of milks out there as well too. So it's very hard to not have. So yeah, cheese. What are your favorite kinds of cheese?
I like cheddar and mozzarella.
Okay. Have you had
Yeah.
buffalo mozzarella, like the Italian version of mozzarella that they have?
No, I have not. I didn't even know mozzarella actually has types. It does.
Okay, yes, because this is my experience as well, living in the States and being there, and like you have the mozzarella, which is like the one like kind of it's like a softer cheese, where it's more like a solid block,
Yeah.
and then they have those in on pizza and other things like that, sandwiches.
Yeah.
But then I go to Italy and they have bufala mozzarella, and it's this divine sack of just creamy goodness with like the inside is like kind of like
Okay, well, I'm feeling hungry now.
it's amazing. They normally use water buffaloes to make it. They actually came to Africa and
Um,
got water buffaloes, and they have like big ranches of water buffaloes out there. So they have that where it's like inside it's more like cottage cheese type of stuff, but then the outside is like
um,
this soft sack of like mozzarella. I've
yeah.
seen them. They actually have them at zucchini. I've seen them a few places here.
Oh,
So maybe I'll bring some for the meetup so you can taste that
yes.
because it's a different level of just goodness. And then I went up to Turin and they had I'm forgetting the name of it. How am I forgetting the name of it? I'll write it down in this, but it's different because now it's a different specific one from the north that has like strips inside that's even like a higher level of goodness. It's excellent. But yeah, even with this series,
My mouth is watering at the moment.
yeah. And even with this, it's like that cheese, because I was like, okay, where is it? You make do, and there's a lot of local cheeses coming up and things like this. But the people who do this mozzarella is actually Brown's mozzarella, and that's like a local, it's a local company. So yeah, maybe we can find them. Like with the
Yeah.
series, eventually, somewhere in a few years or maybe a few months, or how we don't know how. Well, wherever you listen to this, there might be a link to one of the conversations with somebody in this network talking to Brown's Cheese about their cheese making thing. That's kind of how this whole system will work together. Okay, so yeah, cheese. Everybody likes cheese, and also try halloumi. Halloumi is something I suggest everyone tries. It's
Oh,
like a type of cheese where you can fry it. It doesn't melt. It doesn't like disintegrate. So you can roast it. You can roast it. You can fry it. It gets a nice crispy crust on it. It's excellent.
oh, that sounds delightful. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, now I have to try it.
I'm a big fan of cheese. Okay. Okay, so next question. Anything else that you would like to add about what you do, about Artiv, just other thoughts you might have about the earnings, the cost benefit analysis, the trade-offs, the relationships you've built, just with the topic matter that we've talked about, is there anything that you think hasn't been gone over, needs to be reiterated, or just, yeah, about the topic that we've been talking?
No, I think you've covered most of it. The training, the trying to reach out now to corporates and event curating,
Tell
the
us a bit
old
about that,
school
actually. Yeah, you can pitch a bit
a
about
bit
that. Like
there.
you just did, recently you had
Okay.
an event. We'll try to put some photos or videos or links
Yes.
to it. The links to her socials will be there. you now doing, how long have you been doing the whole facilitating of events for people?
The facilitating hasn't been too long,
Okay.
but it's actually a market we had been trying to get into. And I hadn't understood how to do it at first. The
Hmm.
thing about me is that if I don't understand how to do something, I try to learn about it first, then now attempt. So when we were approached to do it, Motika helped with the brainstorming, and he told me, okay, this is the idea, and I said, okay, fine, let's work with this. And so now, for me, I'm good at putting ideas together and bringing them to life. That's my
Hmm.
strong point. So if you come to me and tell me this is the idea, I'll bring it to life. So we kind of like just put the canvases, and then our people were just able just to come and just paint. So you see, it's not a painter going to paint and do their thing, but the audience is the one that actually interacted with the canvas, did what they want, drew what they want. Didn't matter if you can't draw, if you can't draw, didn't matter. Go
Hmm.
there, no shame, pour out your artistic side.
Yeah.
And so and so we're trying to see how to be able just to get into that, not only through the canvas paintings, but also through even the smaller canvas paintings, through just things with your hands, DIYs. So that's one of the things we're trying to incorporate, because you find that most adults lost their childhood. And you'd
Yeah.
find perhaps when you're growing up, they're like, you can't draw, or you drew and they're like, where's that going to get you? So
Yeah.
that sort of creativity was quashed. So we want to kind of bring it out. And also we want to also do it with musical instruments, just even having a workshop where just doing something very simple.
Hmm.
Sounds silly, but you'd you'd be surprised the power that music and art can do and in bringing people together.
Yeah.
So that's for the event curation. For the school programs, we're trying to get into schools where we can offer the music and art as an extracurricular program. So not only what the now the CBE actually has something called the creative arts, but
Okay.
the creative arts has combined music, PE, physical
Yes.
education, and art together as one subject.
Maybe they're thinking like martial
So
arts, so it's like arts is
it
in
is not
there.
even it's not even that, it's
There's no
physical
rhyme or reason
education.
between this.
Physical.
And it's because
So
I
they've done
think,
it.
and this is the not one of the issues, it's because of the ministry, because the ministry is like sports, education, and culture. So now
Yes,
it's a top-down thing instead of like what's the best thing for the students. It's yeah.
exactly. So because of that, you look at what they're learning in the school in music and art, and you're like, oh, okay, that's good, but it's a bit
Yeah.
basic. I feel you can do better. So we're trying to now approach schools and tell them, okay, how about we put an extracurricular program where we can put an affordable fee, because there's power in numbers. So instead of like, let's say like how someone can pay like perhaps 2,000 a session, someone
Hmm.
is paying maybe 3,000 for a term, and the term is like 3 months, or 5,000 for the term. The term is like 3 months. So a parent would prefer that, and then now you now get the trainers now to train the kids on the instruments or on the art. So that's also a program that we're trying to really get into.
Yeah.
Because if we can tap into it when these kids are young, I didn't have it when I was growing up. They removed it when I think I was in class six. The whole art, music. So the schools I went to didn't have music and art. And
Hmm.
the only thing that actually helped me was because we had an extracurricular music in primary school. And that's how I learned, I got to improve on my skill for playing piano. I've been playing piano since I was four. Then, because I encountered that trainer when I was in class six, she instilled something in me, and she kind of made me want to actually pursue music.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we also want. A teacher has a big imprint on kids.
Yeah.
And you want to be that teacher who, when a kid remembers you when they're big, they can be like, yeah, I actually went through teacher Rachel. I know teacher Rachel.
Yeah.
So and it's a good feeling. It's not that one of you have those teachers who you think about and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to think about this guy. So that's for the school programs. And I think what's that one? We also do the murals. I don't know if you've ever seen any of the murals that we've done.
No, I saw the
We've
ones
been
on the
doing
balcony
murals.
though.
Yes, but other than that, we have been doing murals for companies as well
Yeah.
from even before COVID hit. And it's been one of the ways also to interact with the community, because at the end of the day, we also kind of want to have a social impact. So you get
Mhm.
that you go do a mural in a community and you actually tell the kids there or the youth there, you want to come and try paint a bit. And it actually turns out to be like a small free workshop for them.
Yeah,
And because they actually had that exposure to them drawing or whichever, you find that they actually can pursue it later on. So
yeah.
that's also one of the things that we do. Yeah.
Yeah, with what she's doing, I was really enthused to meet them because it kind of aligned with what I was thinking. Because I was teaching, doing the guest lecturing, then I had an opportunity to pursue some other thing, get back to the States, work some things with a friend out there, and that kind of fell through after some time. But I had developed the course material, and be like, okay, it's a blog version. So if you're more of an autodidact, you could go in there and actually do it. But I was thinking that as a part of a project for my multiple ideas that I'm still going to put all together, called like those who can teach. So that was both on the ways of like the apprenticeship sort of thing, which I think the creative arts is a lot better to learn in that way. Many other fields also a lot better. Because even if you think about these typical ones who go like accounting, on these, like she talked about when she went there and she was interning, you weren't actually learning. But in these situations, if you graduate with a degree, when you get to an office, it's normally they work in a certain way and there's normally a training period anyway.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think we need to get back to those who can do whatever it is that they're doing, teach. So
Mhm.
how do we enable, facilitate the ability for people who are already doing things to teach people who want to do those things? Then next, also just set up certain systems where it's like those who can, who might have the time to teach, but don't have the ability to develop a teaching program. Can you set up programs and set up systems where you don't have to have this long certification, but it's like I'm going to be presenting and putting together that animation program that I have so Artiv can be using it. So if you're an autodidact, you can go there and learn it. But they may be other creators who know the material that's in there already, or once they've gone through the course, they might be able to use that same course material and go teach more people the animation who might need somebody present for it. So we should rethink the way we educate people, the way we train people, the way we teach people, the way we pass on knowledge. So those who can either do the things or those who can have the time to teach, they're the ones who should be teaching versus it being like a rigid thing where it's like only these limited people who've gone through this system are allowed to talk to the children about this topics. It's like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like you can learn things from so many places in so many different ways, and just it's something that I'm glad to see people like Artiv doing that. And one of the thing I want to do with One Million Thriving Artists was focus more on like workshops, setting up workshops. And from you, what you're talking with the process you learned to like, how do we facilitate? Some of the things you learned doing that, we might be able to talk about how do we start offering the ability to put on workshops at events. Just the same way Motika goes around and he does the, the caricature, that's showing something there. But then now go to different where I've done a couple of festivals. Artiv is going to be at the next AfriLove Fest that we're going to have. They might do something with this Gravity Band. Gravity Band is doing an event focusing on stop ending domestic violence with women in Africa. I think it's in Kenya, and they have like 9 performers, 10 or 9 female performers that are already going to sign up for that. But they came to the last AfriLove Festival and were really enthused by the people putting on workshops, not just vending your stuff. That's cool enough as is,
Yeah.
but the people who were putting on the workshops. Like there were some people who were vending they had like the sewn things, like, but they're also putting on weaving workshops. There's people who were doing like there's an ice bath person. So they wanted to do now they wanted to include people who are actually putting on workshops and showing the process and the learning process, making people more intense in that. And I think that's something missed out where yes, we can do it where we're just teaching actual people who want to be professional artists or do it on their personal time. But I think going to actual events and having value added of I'm hosting an event, it's a corporate event, but hey, there's just people you can learn these things there. I think that's another venue that I think creatives can tap into that's revenue stream and also just increasing the valuation of creativity in Kenya and everywhere that you are. So I think we should talk about how we can maybe offer courses on how do you workshop? How do you turn whatever it is you're doing to like a workshop that you can put on for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, or 30 minutes, like, and offer that to say like this is $2,000 you come, or 2,000 shillings, or $2,000 maybe depending on what you're doing, but 2,000 shillings or something, and you can come for like an hour and a half and learn animation, like a basic animation. How do you create a kind of module that you can do to facilitate that sort of thing? Yeah, that could be something we could look into. Oh,
Yeah,
all
that
right.
would be awesome.
But yeah, okay. So now these are the last three. Thanks a lot again for taking part with this. And
No worries.
we go. Okay. So do you have any questions from me? So yeah, any questions from me for this from what we've talked about so far? Just any general questions?
Okay, so what we've talked about, like everything in general, or can be
Anything that
something
comes to
else,
mind.
or
It doesn't. You don't have to have one. If you do, you can just
okay.
think of like, yeah.
So how are you managing perhaps the whole you see how you have the 1 million artists, your personal projects, how are you
Mhm.
handling all those and like trying to still be true to your brand and
Yeah.
not get lost in the vision?
That one is something like this recently. I had a really good. Okay, so one thing I was doing was I wasn't in a good place a few years ago. Then finally decided just to say yes and take on the opportunity to meet with Lulu Kitololo. Like I will drag her when she comes back from Mombasa to be in this series. But you can do it digitally, and maybe even when she's in Mombasa, we can get this done. But she was doing a project to get some creatives together and start a creative convention. And then I joined her, and I met some other creatives here locally. And then after that convention went off, the energy was just a lot of good feelings from that and energy. And then she decided to, she has now Afri Love Fest that she'd been doing before COVID. But after that, I kept the fest, the 1 million thriving artist community going. But people were busy with other things in their lives. Like these are professional creatives trying to get things that bring in money. We didn't make money with the festival, but there was a good possibility, good chance, good energy in there. So tried to harness that. And then Lulu also said, "Hey, you can come help me with the Afri Love Festival." Then I joined her team on that, and we've put on two festivals, putting on another one. So just seeing that inspiration from there, and still that doesn't mean that you just maintain the energy the whole time. Still having some dips and some ups and downs with that, but that's being more tapped into seeing things. So I can see somebody do something. Oh, I thought of this idea before, and I'm seeing this person run with it. It can be like, oh, why shouldn't you have done it before? But it's also like that means you have good ideas. That means there's potential. You could see yourself being that point, and so that has been an effort for me to just get outside of that. And for the last 2 years, it's been mostly good, focusing on that. Yes, money still goes down. You still have certain challenges. But then recently, from just doing daily sketching, met somebody who saw me drawing. She told me about this other person she's working with. And now I might join them on what they're doing. And now it was a big, tough thing. Should I decide to do the personal project that I have, like this carbon stuff, as part of what I'm doing with them? Or that I have that separate. So kind of now deciding what to do with that one professionally. But then with 1 million thriving artists itself, just understanding the limitations and the practicalities of being a professional creative. And part of that was just keeping doing the work, like you said, just keep, if you keep creating, you keep presenting, and you keep putting it out there, the more people that see it, the more chances it might come. Because if I had just decided, okay, I've done a few meetups, nobody's coming, and I stopped, then Watika wouldn't have gotten in touch with me, then you wouldn't have introduced me to you, then wouldn't have led to now changing the meetups from just like, I know you're a creative and it's hard to get money, so can you just meet me on a random Wednesday at the museum and we just sit and chill? Like, no, most people won't do that. It's not like wouldn't like to do that. They just practicality they can't. But then now, if we
Yeah.
do it instead, it's a studio visit. So now you're actually going and seeing other creatives how they do stuff. You can learn how you can do stuff, how you can participate in that, and then you hang out after. So that's something I wouldn't be able to do myself because I don't have a studio. This is my studio, my home studio. But like, if you have now, you're seeing actual people who are out there who've successfully who are working with the challenge and doing that. Now coming together and meeting more people, that's the way I can get myself into this. And you see the culture there, you see the community there, you see the industries there. The industry is not like the one, but you can be that eye in the industry. But like, where's that eye? And it starts with the eye. You know, where is the eye in
Yeah.
the industry? Where are you in that industry that you'd like to see exist? So I think I'm focused a lot more on
Mm.
like, okay, what can I play part in like actually building that industry versus just like decrying that nobody pays for art, nobody likes what we're doing. I can't find a client. It's like, have you really maximized and optimized what you possibly doing to achieve that? And I knew I haven't been doing it in the past. There's been a lack of trying, but I'm trying, and I'm being met with amazing people like you who are also trying and also sharing the energy. You don't have to do it yourself at all. Yeah. So that's kind of my answer to that
Love that.
question. Okay, so
Love that.
next, next to last question. Do you have any questions for anyone else that may answer this questionnaire or participate in this that's reading or that's listening to you? Like, so this one I kind of said, so these can be asked immediately. Yeah, you can send these in later as well too. That we'll have this on the blog, and whatever I posted, there'll be links to that blog. right now it's iknowgreatpeople.carbon33.com, but I think I'll buy a domain separately for this project. But so now this is questions that it could be about your topic. It could be about other things. It could be things that you might also want to have. If there's a certain profession that you're interested in that you'd like to see how that is doing that. So yes, any questions that you might have for anybody else who might participate in I Know Great People or listen to I Know Great People. Like you don't have to have it now. You can send it in later if nothing comes to mind now.
So, so, so wait, so in terms of questions, how?
Any question?
Like the list?
Yeah, like okay, so this one, so it could be, do you have any questions? Like for example, maybe like what do you think would be good to include like for a potential student? Like what are people interested in? Like I think one question I would think would be out there is if you are interested in if you have considered taking art courses, learning some kind of art creativity yourself, what would convince you to do it that you haven't seen in the past so far that maybe Artiv can already has? For all you know, Artiv already has it out there, but maybe they can include in what we're doing or what one of the thriving artists is doing. What are things that would want you to participate more in the creative fields or learn about creative fields? That's kind of question I'm thinking. But yeah, if you think of anything else, whenever you can also send
Okay.
that in. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But I think
Okay.
that's actually a good one, yeah.
Yeah. And the last one, let me go over here. As we build this up, we're going to be taking on random questions and stuff like that. So like you see that question from before, that will be in a pool, a database of random questions that other people asked that I might just randomly choose to do it for this last one. So a random or requested question, let's say you had requested some information about how it is teaching music in Asia or something, and I happen to be talking to somebody who's teaching music in Asia, then this last question I would ask them, would you like a random question, requested question? And then they would take your question because they happen to be teaching music in Asia, and they would answer it. But since I don't have that database yet, I got these hypotheticals. So
Okay.
we can randomly take one of these and I can read them and we can try to see if we can come up with an answer to it.
Yeah,
Are you open to that?
that's okay.
Okay, so let's just see. I'm gonna randomly go through here and pick something that look. Okay, a line in film. Okay. So you don't have to give the answer now. I'll give you once you hear the question, maybe it's also something that can also be included in whatever blog post you post this in. Okay. So for whatever the reason, two unauthorized movies are made about your life. The first is an independently released documentary, primarily compromised of interviews with people who know you and bootleg footage from your actual life. Critics are describing the documentary as brutally honest and relentlessly fair. Meanwhile, Columbia TriStar has produced a big budget biopic of real life, casting major Hollywood stars as you and all your acquaintances. Though the movie is based on actual events, screenwriters have taken some liberties with the facts. Critics are split on the artistic merits of this fictionalized account, but audiences love it. So which of these two films would you be more interested in seeing?
The brutally honest one.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think in general that would be it. I mean, of course, people always have that thing like who do you think would be best at playing you and whatnot in a movie and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I think we already live our lives. Most of us do live our lives in that the Hollywoodized version of how we see history,
Mm,
our day-to-day lives, and imagine the future, especially with the catastrophizing of how bad things are getting. And going back to what you were
yeah.
saying about the creativity, that's something that I've really put in effort recently to just be like, stop questioning yourself. Because I have a good imagination, but that imagination can also imagine all the ways whatever I could potentially do
Um,
won't work. Like
yeah.
before
Oh
even
my
trying, I'm
gosh,
like,
yes.
it ain't gonna work. It's like I might put in like 2, 3 years now, but 3 years from now, this thing is guaranteed to fail. So I'm not even gonna start
Hey, that's me too. That's me too. That's
now.
me.
Yeah. And that's part of it. This I Know Great People is part of a storytelling platform idea that I have. The main kind of idea I have was just to get stories of people talking. Because you could have this LinkedIn, this TED Ed. Like I want this to be a conversational thing where it's just like people talking about their lives. the lived experiences. We're
Yeah.
getting lived experiences and just being taught in this a general kind of manner. But yeah. Yeah, so all y'all out there also, what's the question? If you're watching this, let us know the answer to this Hollywoodized version of your story or that. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, what do you think the genre of the movie would be? Be cool genre though, like of
Oh,
your
it would be.
yeah.
Mine would be. I think mine would be drama,
Yeah. This is more of a
drama
light
and
drama.
thriller.
Okay. All right. So I think that's it for now. If you have, do you have anything else you would like to add or anything? Or no, no, good to go.
No, I'm just really happy to actually have gotten out of my shell and now starting to connect with people
Mhm.
and now just getting to meet more people.
Yeah,
It's something that I had missed doing, and I'm
yeah,
glad that I know through you also I'm going to connect with other people, just the same way
yeah.
I'm still connecting with other people that Motika is introducing me to, that other people introducing me to. And I'm glad I actually came on for the interview.
Yeah, no, thanks a lot. I mean, like I said, I started this like 2000 something. It was a long time ago. Then I stopped, and now I'm picking this back up, but more planned and organized. And I'm holding you. You're going to have to be the first person to actually host one of these on your own. I don't have to be there for it. So you find someone that you'll do
Yeah.
that. And also, this will be part of the 1 Million Thriving Artists platform to market and talk about the studio visits. So some of you who watch this, we will see you in person July 31st. I'll post whatever I'm posting this will be regular on our socials for advertising for that as well. It's the first of many studio visits, both Artiv and other people. We're building that up as we go. Yeah, trying to get like with 1 Million Thriving Artists, our tagline, our book is trying to get 1 million thriving creatives or artists in the African continent, and then we'll see from there. I think they probably already are that many, but we're not in touch with them. So even just connecting that network together where you see them, and then now comes the definition of what thriving is. Like, yeah, like you think about yourself from 10 years ago, if you were told you'd be at this point, like, would you be dismayed and not do it? Or would you be like super excited, like, I should have done this 10 years before?
Excited.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited, like, so we can actually come together.
Yeah, so that's the feeling I want to feel, and that's the feeling I felt, I think, from setting up, just being more in touch with the creative community here and setting up conventions and festivals and just meeting people and just looking forward to what we grow from here. But yeah, so that's it for me. Anything else?
Well,
No?
thank you
Okay.
so much, Silas.
All right,
Yeah.
so guys, gals, and everybody else in between, goodbye.